When I married Daniel 8 years ago, I believed with my whole heart that we were creating a love strong enough to weather anything life threw at us. He had been gentle, steady, and patient in a way that made me feel protected. But over the years, through unpaid bills, long shifts, and evenings spent scrolling on our phones instead of talking, the distance between us grew heavier than any fight could have. One night, as we sat across from each other at dinner, it hit me that he hadn't looked at me even once. He was physically present but emotionally miles away. The man who once made me laugh until I ached now felt like a stranger quietly sharing my space. That night I finally said aloud the words that had been suffocating me for months. "Daniel, if you can't love me the way you used to, maybe we shouldn't stay together." He looked up, calm and almost hollow. "Is that what you want, Rachel?" "It's what I need," I whispered, secretly praying he'd stop me, question me, reach for my hand, anything. But he didn't. He simply nodded and said, "Then I'll give you what you need." The next morning he was gone. No explanation, no message, just an empty spot on the bed and his wedding ring sitting on my nightstand. At first, I thought he was trying to scare me into rethinking my words. But days went by, and the silence stayed. When I finally called him, the call went straight to voicemail. All I managed to choke out was, "I didn't mean it that way. Please come home." 3 days later, an email arrived. "You're right, Rachel. You deserve to be loved the way you used to be. I can't offer you that anymore. I'm letting you go." At the bottom was an address. Our old lake cabin, the one where we spent our honeymoon. My heart pounded as I drove there, praying he'd be waiting so we could repair what had fallen apart. But when I reached the cabin, it was dark, still untouched, as if no one had stepped inside in years. On the counter was a brown envelope with my name written in his familiar handwriting. Hands shaking, I opened it. Inside was a letter. "Rachel, when you said you needed something else, I realized you weren't wrong. I've been half alive, pretending our love was enough, while you were begging for more. You deserve someone who sees the universe in you. I can't be that man anymore. I've accepted a job in Denver and leave tomorrow. The house is yours. The papers are enclosed. No arguments, no theatrics, just the truth. Don't try to find me. Maybe one day you'll remember me gently." Tears blurred the words, but something about the letter felt off. It didn't sound like Daniel. It felt like someone who had already made peace with losing everything. The next morning, I phoned his sister. "He's gone," I told her. "He took a job in Denver." She hesitated before softly saying, "Rachel, Daniel hasn't had a job in 6 months. He never told us anything about Denver." My stomach twisted. I drove to his workplace, only to learn that he'd quit a week before our argument. That night, I tore through drawers and closets, desperate for any clue. In one of his jackets, I found a receipt from a jewelry store dated 2 weeks earlier. On the back was a short note. Maybe this will remind her why I chose her. I couldn't even breathe. He had been planning something, trying to fix us, right before I pushed him away. The following evening, I returned to the cabin. As the sun sank behind the trees, I noticed a small wooden box tucked under the porch steps. Inside was a delicate gold bracelet engraved with, "Always, even when it's hard." Under it lay another letter. "I was planning to give you this on our anniversary. When you said you needed something different, I thought that maybe letting you go was the only gift I had left. Before I disappear for good, you should know I'm not going to Denver. I'm leaving so you never have to watch what comes next. I learned last month that I'm sick, the kind you don't recover from. I didn't want you to watch me fade, so I let you get angry enough to release me." I read the letter again and again as everything around me seemed to fall away. The man I accused of loving me less had been dying, and he'd been protecting me the only way he knew how. I don't remember driving home, only the quiet that followed. It wasn't smothering anymore. It felt holy. Every moment, every silence, every meaningless argument, every dinner eaten without a word, suddenly felt like a treasure I had taken for granted. Later, I learned Daniel had checked into hospice under a different name. He passed away 2 weeks after that email. His sister called to say he'd left one last message for me. When she handed it to me, it said, "Rachel, I hope you find someone who never makes you choose between love and freedom. But if life doesn't give you that, remember that I never stopped choosing you." People imagine heartbreak as loud, full of shouting and shattered things. But the deepest kind is quiet. It's waking up knowing the person who loved you most walked away not because their love faded, but because it was too fierce to let you watch them disappear. Now, whenever I wear that bracelet, I can almost hear his voice whispering the words carved into it.